are you? It's so cool to be with you guys, but we're actually having a giggle right now because, well, first of all, thank you everybody for joining us, on this new page. We're super excited. Now the page is not even finished being edited yet, so you're probably going, what is this, girls? What are you doing? But we're giggling because I don't know if anybody that's watching can see these icons on the screen that we're seeing. So anybody out there that's watching, if you could let us know, if those are there. It's like right beside Amber's. It's right here.
Right there.
It's right there.
Yeah. Oh, and there's one over here. There's one over here too.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see them. If you could chime in and just let us know. So what is this page? What's this all about? Yeah. You're probably wondering. So let me just first by introducing myself for those that were on Amber's page that she invited, and then Amber will introduce herself so the folks that were on my page can be introduced. So I'm Liz Throp. I am a psychic medium and a life coach, and the host of The Gifted Ones, which is a YouTube show on all metaphysical topics. So you definitely want to chime in for that at some point. And I'm also the co-president of Psychic Kids United, which is a website for gifted children and their parents to help them get through the early days, the early years with, just understanding their gifts and understanding that it's a superpower and it's not. Oh, we've got somebody on. Hi, Vicki Lee. How are you? Vicki, we were just saying, can you see the icons on the screen, or can you just see myself and Amber? Because we're kind of giggling about that earlier.
This is what happens when Liz and I try to do something with technology.
Yeah, so true. So so that's who I am. And Amber, go ahead.
So I'm Amber Price, and I'm here from Niagara, Ontario, and I am a psychic medium and a life coach. And I also host the Spiritual Excellence Halo Awards every year, which is a great opportunity in our industry, spiritual and holistic, to join together and have experts in the field come and speak and share wisdom on their topics, and then also have their peers. She does see it.
You do see it. That's hysterical.
That's crazy.
We don't know.
Okay, sorry guys, we'll fix that for later. It just appeared. I don't know where it's come from. So
strangest thing. But Sarah, carry on with who you are.
Anyway, so I do the halos. And I have also recently started doing the Sapphire Association. So for any female entrepreneur or business owner who wants to elevate their business, and that comes from my background in operations and human resources. And so kind of a little bit of a different area of expertise for me. And so we're here together today, and we have initiated the Insiders.
The Insiders. We basically sat down. We get together and have like chats. We're friends. We've become very close this last year, really.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about doing something where the two of us get together and just what would it be like if you were a fly on the wall for our conversations? Because our conversations can be really fun and profound and silly. And but we did notice that whenever we did do any kind of video together, that we get a great response for it. So we figured, this is obviously something we got to look at. So we decided to create this page, the Insiders, to kind of give you a chance to be a fly on the wall to basically our conversations. And we're going to be talking about metaphysical things, obviously, life in general, and what's it like to be us?
Yeah, I get asked a lot of common questions a lot of times, which is something that even every time I'm asked certain questions about what is it like to experience spiritual messages or connections, it doesn't actually get old for me because it's always changing. And so the premise is the same, you still have the same outcome, but how does it happen? How does it work? So that's kind of what we were talking about. We were sitting chatting about what is our life like, and we have, oh, thanks, Vicki. Yes, you had a reading. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad. Thank you for having me. So are you. And thank you, Vicki, for having me do that for you and be part of your journey. when we do this kind of work, it really is for helping.
100%.
In my world, it's to make sure that we're helping share this information, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, and this is one of the things that I am so trying to get out there. It's not all about speaking to people that have passed away.
No.
Like the work that I do, the work that you do, is a lot of spiritual soul coaching. And so how do you have a goal? Do you have a dream? And how do you realize it? And where are your blocks maybe that are in your
100%
in your soul or your spirit, or other people might call that your personality, but whatever.
Yeah.
So it's really just about debunking some of the, things you might think. Sometimes people come and say, "You're not what I expected."
Yes. Yeah. I know.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I know.
So yeah. So I think Liz and I got chatting, and we were talking about some of the things, experiences that we had in our own life, and not with other people's readings. It's not like that. It's okay, you went to the grocery store, you tried to drop your kid off at school, or you know, those kinds of things. And so as we were talking and people were listening to our conversations and really just starting to be like, wow, I always wondered that. This is what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, basically in a nutshell.
Very casual.
Yeah, we got another viewer. Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
Hello. Thank you for joining us. So, yeah, so basically, like, what's it like being you, Amber?
I haven't figured it out. No, in all honesty, it is, every day is different. Every day is a challenge. Every day is interesting. And that's actually when my husband and I go out and we're at a party or we're at a restaurant or whatever we're doing. It doesn't matter what we do. Like, we could have just went to get gas, and something always occurs. Something always happens. And so him and I, similar to you and I, we just start laughing and talking, and like there's no one else in our world around us. We're just like in that moment, right? Yeah. And then we look up and realize, oh my God, there's more people in our moment, and everybody's watching our chaos, right? But it's always things that happen that make you realize everything is affected by energy. And it's living like that. It's living understanding. If you're really nervous about something, that experience is going to be extra hard. You're going to have to like work through it a bit. If you're open to it and you're not thinking much about it, you might actually be able to fly through and think, holy, that wasn't so bad.
It was easy.
So what is it like being me? I don't know. It's day to day. It's minute to minute. It's just it's literally fly by the seat of your pants. Like my thing was go big or go home. Yeah. So I just had to jump in to whatever I'm doing.
Exactly. And so because I think that's one of the things that we resonated with. When I was 18, I had a cousin come over here, and I will keep it brief, but she was journeying across North America by herself, and she was like 19 or 20 at the time. And I remember thinking, wow, how can you do that? Yeah. How are you not afraid that, something bad's going to happen? She's like, Liz, if I worried about that, I would never do it. So I release myself of the fear, and I just trust that I'm going to be okay, and I'll deal with things as they come. And I was like, that's really fascinating. She said, my motto is just do it. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to adopt that, because I thought she was the coolest human being on the planet at that time. Somebody so brave to do that. And that's when I jumped in and started my traveling journey, because I wanted to do that. And I have ever since then, especially in this world now, I didn't adopt the just do it with my gifts. I held off to my 20s. Right. Like I was fearful.
Hard to jump into that.
Yeah, I was fearful. I didn't want a lot of people, saying I'm a weirdo or whatever at the time, right? Like, so I'm like, 50.
Come on, we are weird.
In a good way, right?
Not because of that. But
yeah. That's true, guys. I'm saying. Like basically it was just like, just do it. And now anything that scares me, I don't care what it is, this scares me, being live. People don't realize that, but I don't really, the more you do it, the less fearful you get. Yeah. And like, I'm comfortable now. It was that immediate, like when we started, I was a little nervous. I'm not now. Yeah. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So that's my kind of, I just do it.
You just do it. I just go big and go home.
I love it.
Fight through. Now, do you have anyone in your immediate family that's gifted?
Not traditionally, like where they would be doing the work that we're doing, but yes, absolutely. My grandmother in the UK was somebody who basically had everybody show up at her house for tea. It was like she would have friend after friend showing up all the time. And I remember when I went to visit, I was, I think, 10 years old the first time, and I just noticed this parade of people coming and having a tea, chatting with her, and then leaving. And I thought at the time, like, she gives great advice to people. People love her.
So wise.
She's so wise, yeah. And I can see now that that's what she was doing.
Yeah.
She was tapping into her insight for everybody.
Yeah.
My mother and my father, very insightful. You know, they do have, you know, they're very, my mother will have like premonitions and stuff like that, but, you know, not like on the constant.
Right.
What about you?
Yeah. So I have 5 children and 2 grandchildren now.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
But
so cute.
I think they are, aren't they?
They are so
oh my
cute.
God. I know I'm impartial, but they don't. They're so cute. They're so little. All of my children, whether they want to acknowledge it or not.
Yeah. I should have mentioned that with my daughter too.
Yeah. It's difficult because they aren't going to practice it. Like you say, like they're not. But they're going to use it in their everyday intuition. And that's actually part of why I want to do this too with you.
Exactly.
Because you don't have to sit here and be like, okay, I'm going to work in the metaphysical world or holistic world.
Yeah.
All you have to do is just like make your life a little bit easier and like open up and see, you know, maybe your gut feeling said, don't take left, go right. And then you find out you missed a train or whatever.
Yeah.
Little things like that.
Yeah.
And it just makes it a little bit easier just to open up and listen to your
and
inner
trusting
self, right?
yourself. I think that's the key for every human being. If we could just learn to trust ourselves. I think a lot of people think that they need to learn to trust other people.
Right.
And that, you know, if I could just trust this person to be good to me or do right by me or whatever. It's never been about that.
No.
It's been about trusting yourself to make good decisions and bringing the right people into your circle.
Yeah.
And we lose that trust in others when we don't trust ourselves. So if there's anybody in your world right now that you're not feeling, you know, the love for, it's likely that it's coming from you.
You know, it's funny. I just thought of that the other day because I was thinking about how people in relationships can go from hot and heavy to really cold and icy very quick. And a lot of that is expectations aren't being met, right?
Yes.
So we get disappointed. But of course, like you and I, when we're talking about these things, we can resonate with these things. They're not immune to us. Like just because we're enlightened or because we're listening doesn't mean we still can't have to deal with like real life stuff. So, so I reflect a lot about these things. And what I also find interesting is things that happen in my personal life will present in a reading for me.
All the time for me.
So someone who shows up, right? And you're like, wait a minute, that just happened to me.
Yeah.
You know? And then you're like, I heard you.
Yeah.
Like, I heard you. Thank you. You know? So you're,
true.
Yeah, you get the message. If you don't, like, if they don't think you really got it before, they'll send someone and then they're like, now you have to hear it from their loved ones and tell them. And then you're like, okay, yes, I get it. I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's more validation. But,
exactly.
But yeah, what I was thinking about that was, you know, relationships, they can go those ways. And I think it's a matter of, you know, I had this epiphany the other day and it was like, you know what? Trust yourself. Like you loved this person so much at one point. Yeah. You can't think you're such a bad judge of character.
Yeah.
You should trust that you were okay. You saw something in that person. So it's a lot of just kind of like sitting and thinking. Like if we sit and think for a bit, it gives us some time to like hear the messages or just like feel it. This is it. Like I love to say, like, what do you feel about that? Because you can think your way out of a paper bag. You can think your way, you know, like into Taj Mahal, but you can't feel if that's the right thing for you. So, you know, ask yourself, like, what do you feel about it? Like, what is your body saying? What is your soul saying?
Exactly.
You know,
one of the things I want to talk about with relationships, because we are in the holiday season, and it can be overwhelming just being present, right? But where relationships are concerned, and, you know, like you're saying, just feel it. I think the biggest disconnect, and I only learned this because I had to learn it for myself, was that people fall in love with people's potential. And when you fall in love with someone's potential, you only see what their greatness is, and you're not actually paying attention to what they're actually showing up as. So that can lead to disappointment. And when we forgive constantly and create an environment where, you can do whatever you want because I see your potential, that's when we run into roadblocks or challenges of feeling let down or discouraged or what have you. The bottom line is we also take it very personally, right? We take it, relationships we take so personally. Like, if you do this, I'm going to take it like you're coming after me. I was guilty of that. I can still be guilty of that with my husband. Yeah.
Hard.
But I have to remind myself constantly that, gosh, Liz, like, wake up. It's not about you. So, just actually for today, when you're going about your business, if you're at work, or you're out shopping, because this is crazy. Let's like, nobody likes to shop at this time of year. I never like shopping this time of year. But if you make a mindful decision to not take anything anybody says, does, or looks at you in a certain way, don't take it personally. I can guarantee you're going to get through this holiday season so much better than you have any other holiday season.
Yeah, you know why? Because we're not taking responsibility to own their opinion, right? Yeah. So opinion, everyone's entitled to one, and everyone's entitled to feel. But I can hear half of you out there saying, they said this to me. How am I supposed to not take that personal? It's about me. This has hurt me. Yeah. But you know what? The empaths are the ones that are going to have a harder time with this, because empaths, such as myself.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
empath too. It's ours. Like, we own it. It's like, this just happened, and holy crap, that happened to me. And you can feel it like it is your reality, right? Yeah. So knowing that you have that ability to connect to somebody so strongly that you're trying to own their emotion, opinion, or belief system, you have to separate yourself. So that's what hopefully we'll try to discuss too, is like, because that's why I was joking about, like, what's it like to be me, because it's as an empath, is it me? Is it you? Is it you? Is it that?
Yeah. So is it the dog, the cat?
Yeah. And I spend a lot of my day every day trying to figure that out. Like, I wake up and I think, oh, I'm in an amazing mood, and then all of a sudden a wall of just grief or anger or something, and I'm like, what the heck happened? I don't even know what happened. And then I find out, maybe someone who's coming for a reading has just gotten into a car accident and is mad about it, or my husband is upset or stressed because he's late or something. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're connected to someone's energy, either knowingly or unknowingly, and that's what happens around the holiday season, is that we've got this expectation of what it's going to be like to show up and have what we have, or not get what we wanted, right? Because of course, like, we're missing a lot of our loved ones at this time of year, and that's sad too. So definitely the expectations are matching.
And that's where not taking what everybody else is saying or doing personally, because everybody's dealing with their own journey right now. They may be having profound loss, going through profound loss, or remembering somebody and missing them at this time of year because they're no longer with us. And so their reaction towards you may be curt or short or angry or overwhelming, or just dismissive, because they're not thinking about you. And that's the big thing. If we can learn to not take it personally, I'm telling you, just what a difference.
So my husband is also an empath. So what happens in my life at night? So, because he works all day, of course, and so do I. And so our schedules are crazy, and with the 5 kids, and we've got all this stuff going on all the time, right? And so we're sit down at night, and finally, have some time to just like, But then we could be watching Friends, okay? Because we love to watch Friends, right? It's just light and fun, and the gang is awesome, right? So we're sitting there watching it, and then all of a sudden, this is what happens. I'll think, did I pay the hydro bill? In my head, right? I'll be like, just, and then he's on his phone playing his game or texting a friend or something, and he doesn't even look up. He goes, what is it? So I said, what's what? And he'll say, what is it? What happened? You're like, what's wrong? What's going on? I'm like, I literally just in my head from watching the show, didn't even make a face. I just thought, did I make that? And he knew because he's an empath. So we're so connected. So then 10 minutes later, we get past that. Because I'm like, can't I have my own thoughts? No. No. So then 10 minutes later, I'm like, I'm feeling something coming from his direction. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And I look over and I'm like, so what is it? What's going on, right? And he's like, oh. Like, he's like, really? Like, you know, like, now you want to know what's wrong with me. I'm like, yeah, because now you're making me uncomfortable because you have stress coming from you, right? Like, I can feel it.
Yeah.
So this is what we do most nights or most days together.
Same with
me
and my husband. Identical. Not so much the reading of thoughts. I'm a little bit more in tune on him than he is on me, I would say. But he's an inner thinker, so that can be really challenging.
Yeah. It's like, tell me, give it to me, tell me what you're trying to say.
Speak.
Hi, Stephanie. Stephanie's on.
Hi, Stephanie.
It's hard.
So no, it can be really challenging. But then
relationships
learning
is hard.
Oh my gosh, it is. It can
very
be daunting,
rewarding, but very
extremely rewarding when you're in
hard.
when you're in a good vibe. Wonderful, but I think the challenges are there to help us become more aware or more in tune to our own energy, what our output and our input is. I think that's part of the plan for us, right?
Yeah.
So
can any of you guys connect to your spouses and be like, I knew you were gonna say that, or what's for dinner? And like, you're both like, pizza. Yeah. You know, like, it's, you know, and we kind of attributed it to, oh, you spend so much time together, you know that, like, you know, but really the thing is that you guys are connected by energy, whether you're in a great mojo together or whether you guys are struggling at that minute, like, you guys are connected. So you'll still have those moments where you're just like, I was just thinking that, or I was just telling somebody in a reading actually yesterday that when we are first meeting somebody, we think we are falling for them physically. We're like, oh, he's so cute, or look how sexy that guy is, or whatever. And it's never been about that. We think that's what it is because we're conditioned to use only our eyes for awareness. But the reality is it's about their energy. And so when we're drawn in by somebody and it's such a profound feeling, you know, that is what the connection is. That's what we're talking about when we say connection. It's the energy between the two of you. Now, and I'll explain this to you a little bit better, because if you think of ex-boyfriends, Amber, okay? I got my tea from Tim Hortons. We're Canadian.
Yeah, we're totally. I got my coffee. But if you think of your ex-boyfriends who you thought when you first started dating them were gorgeous, right? Can you look back on them now and go, they're not as gorgeous as I remember them being?
It changes because I'm really like that. I get what you're saying, because the emotional part of it is more attractive to me than the physical part of it.
Exactly.
So yeah, if something changes with that, it changes how you see them on the outside.
On the outside. Yeah. And that, I think their outside never really changes. It's just our perception of falling in love with their potential and not seeing them for who they were. But it's always been, the energy shifts because we become more aware. We become more energetically, our vibration shifts, right? And so they're no longer suited for us. So that's kind of like,
and that's the thing, right? Like, you're psychic. Shouldn't you have known this person isn't? Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Like,
so funny.
Jokes on us, because
never heard that before.
Yeah, like, surprise. Like, yes, of course. If we had have known that wasn't going to work out, would we have done it or not? Exactly. And you know what? There's been times I've asked myself that. Like, if I had have known this wasn't going to go the way that I hoped my expectation was, would I have still done it? And like, I'm like, yeah, I probably still would have, because I still got A, B, and C, or whatever, right? So,
or your children, like my daughter came from my first real relationship. Yeah. And thank God, but he was the worst guy for me ever.
Yeah. Not a good match for you. Maybe somebody else.
Amazing
or whatever, right?
to create my daughter. So yeah, and he'll be amazing for somebody else.
That's right. Exactly. And that's what it is. It's like, no, it's not a bad person. It's just not maybe a good person for you, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, you can always go down that rabbit hole of like, I should try my best to see what's going to work for me and what's not. But you don't get those experiences if you know those things, and you have to grow from them, right? Yeah. So like, I often think like, wow, my patience levels are really good. And then I'll be sitting at home one night and thinking, okay, I don't have any more patience left. I have got none left. I've got none. But I think to myself, wait a minute, yes you do. You got a little bit more. Keep going, right? And then, but yeah, it is. It's that triggered response. of the relationships. But you know what? I love the fact that we're talking about relationships, because that is one of our biggest things in life. It's like when you wake up and you breathe the air and you eat the food and drink the water, we're looking for relationships. We are looking for a connection. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is.
No.
There's all types of relationships, and we could be talking about romantic ones. We could be talking about relationships with friends or family members or coworkers or bosses. Like, come on, like look at all the relationships.
Strangers.
We have to, the stranger relationship.
So you could just be walking into a store, and we've all been present when somebody's lost it in a store, and that
I was worried about that today. I had to go to Walmart today, and all of a sudden I started getting a little bit nervous because I thought somebody's getting upset over there, and then I start to like, okay, I'm putting all my stuff down and I'm gonna leave. I don't want to do this anymore. Like it makes, because an empath, like it's like a radar. It's like boom, like it's over on aisle 16, and I'm in the express, and all of a sudden I'm like zoom right into something, whether they were loud or not, and then it's like, whoa, like a big radar. And I'm like, I'm ready to go. I don't want to be here. I'm all nervous and anxious. And not for that someone's going to physically lash out. That's not what it is. It's usually like someone's frustrated. And
it's just yucky energy.
But yeah, it is. It's very like, I'm sweating.
Yeah. Get me out of here.
Yeah,
exactly. I used to actually have, fun fact, I used to actually have such anxiety about going out in public and shopping. That was my big anxiety. I would actually have hyperventilating situations. This was shortly after my daughter was born, and I had to train myself to actually be in public. It takes practice. hard thing. So,
so we go on vacation every year. My husband and I go on vacation every year for our anniversary, and we take that time together, and our wonderful family with the kids. And so it's always the whole eating thing and going to a restaurant for me. So you're saying shopping. Mine is restaurants. And, my husband's the main, he was primarily and would love to be like the main cook in the house. And I don't like cooking. I don't like any of it. I don't like cooking. I don't like eating. I don't like any of that stuff that goes along with it, shopping for it, whatever. But I feel guilty because he can't cook all the time. He needs a break, right? So he likes to go out once in a while and have somebody serve him. So we literally can be found anywhere around the world, just driving up and down a strip with lots of restaurants on it until I say, that one, just stop, turn around, and go back in. Because from this street, I'm like, okay, that one's okay, but this one, hell no. Like, I'm not going in there. And it's not because the food's bad or the service bad. This is literally the energy. Can I eat my meal, or am I going to put it aside and
get me out of here?
This happened on our honeymoon. Like, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, we need to find a green door. Like, we need to go somewhere in the middle of nowhere. We were like out near Wyerton. Like, it was our favorite place, but where's the green door? Like, and he's like, okay, I don't even know where we are. Like, so I'm like, head this way. So we just start driving, and he's like, I'm just hungry. Like, babe, I just want to eat something. and so I'm like, driving. Well, don't we find the Green Door Cafe?
I love it.
I'm like, that's it. We're going in there.
There it
is. It's like 5 or 6 tables, maybe more. I don't know. It's like a beautiful little cute cafe. Great food, great service, but I didn't get to eat. So it was, lots of, somebody just walked by me to get out the door, and then all of a sudden someone sat with me or something sat with me.
Yeah.
So it's like, honestly, like we could be driving up and down, and it's a big problem. And so usually when he says, what do you want for dinner? Oh, I don't want to pick it. I don't want to know. Let's just stay home.
Yeah. See, I do the driving in our relationship. He drives during the day with his job. So he's like hands over the wheels, and I'm kind of a controlling person.
Well, I have to admit I am the same as well. And my mom and dad do the same. My mom usually does most of the driving when they're together. So we actually notice that.
I think it saves me from being frustrated if he goes the wrong way, or God, poor guy. But I can get like, no, you need to go. You need to turn here. I know, but we're over here. I'm like, no, but you just need to listen to me. You need to go here now, like right now. And then inevitably he wouldn't listen, and then we'd find why, because it'd be a traffic jam or something, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of maybe why.
Well, yeah, like you're already getting the energy there. Like when I'm driving, like I have to drive. I can't even, like I'm not even the one that'll teach my kids to drive. Like they have to already know what they're doing, and then I'll get in and let them drive. But my husband has to do all of that, right? So but yeah, well, like we'll be driving, and I'll be just like, no, I just have to be the one, because I have to know when I'm turning. I know when someone's going to slow down. I know when they're going to kind of come from here. It's like, it's very intuitive driving.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So here's a quick question for you. what is something like a fun fact that nobody knows about you that you can share today?
I met the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, and I received an award from him. Mine was in Toronto.
Wow.
Did.
What was that for?
So, so when I was younger, I did tons of volunteer work, tons of community involvement, and I was involved in the Duke of Edinburgh Award program. So it's basically a Young Canadians Challenge, and so you had to have like 5 different, like a skill, a volunteer, a physical fitness, an expedition, and volunteer. If I remember, this is a while ago. So you had to have X number of hours, and you could get bronze, silver, and gold.
Right.
And so I went for the gold, and so my expedition was riding my bike from Niagara Falls to Wheatley, which is just outside Windsor, Ontario, turning around and driving all the way back. So it was about 767 kilometers in length, and it took 4 days to get there, 3 to get home.
That's it?
Well, we lost half of our trek, so we started 7 people, and then at the like halfway through, like maybe 3 or 4 days in, 4 of them left, so it ended up just being 3 of us on the way home. So and then maybe it was just downhill all the way. I don't know, but it took a little less to get.
Yeah, I don't think it was downhill all.
It felt like uphill both ways, as a matter of fact. But
that is a long way.
So after 2 years of participating in this, like I successfully got my award. So I went and I met him.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's he like?
He's so down to earth and so amazing. Like he actually has such an amazing soul. And he kept being guided away from me, and he kept coming back and asking me more, because he's like, you did what? You did what on your bike? And like he was so fascinated.
Yeah, like I'm like there right now.
Yeah, I would have never done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it was cool. It was an experience. So what about you? Fun fact about you.
Okay, fun fact, nothing even remotely close
I was
to
going to
that.
say, wait, you don't have nothing.
No, nothing. I'm thinking, I was raised on a farm, and I have a very strong connection to animals. Even though I don't have any in my home right now, we're kind of playing around with getting a cat. And I'm thinking once we get back from our vacation, possibly.
Well, we've got 4 here.
I know. I love them. I love it. I'm loving all of them actually. They're walking around. You can't see them, but they're like moving around the place here. But because I was raised on a farm, I just absolutely, and it was a pig farm, believe it or not. And a lot of people don't know this about pigs, but they are smarter than dogs. They are a lot like a dog. So I was about 4 or 5. We were only on the farm for a couple of years, but we had chickens and ducks and lots of other bunnies and stuff like that. We kind of hung out with all the animals all day long. And the pig thing, though, they're so in tune to you.
Are they? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So they would come, and we had names for all of them, of course. And unfortunately, we weren't aware that they were actually to be eaten. Yeah. Unfortunately, so
I was just going to ask that if they were just like your
they all disappeared one year, and it was devastating. I can remember being really upset with my family over it. But we used to ride them. We used to hop on their back, and they would run up to you, and they were big. Like I was like, think of me 4 or 5 if you can imagine a little person, and this massive, great, 200-300 pound animal would come up, and they'd come up and they'd snuggle with you, and then
do they?
Yeah, and you would jump on their back and they would take off like lightning. So that was just one of those cool childhood memories. But I did get raised with a lot of animals.
I love that.
Have it in my life all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad that they disappeared one day, but I think that it's cool you had that bonding experience, because animals and children are such a source of education and support.
Huge.
And to have a relationship with an animal when you're growing up, even if it's a fish or even a plant, it doesn't matter. You're growing so intelligently with your soul.
Yeah.
So
there was actually a pack. I don't even know why I'm being drawn to tell you this, but there was a pack of wild dogs that lived around. We were in Guelph at the time, just Arthur actually, and this pack of wild dogs was going around, and so our parents were constantly warning us, if you see those dogs, just get back into the house. Like, so you have to imagine there was 4 of us like hanging out outside playing with all the animals, and then this pack of wild dogs would come running, and we'd all scatter, climb up trees, whatever, and they would just kind of hang around.
I'd be terrified.
And one day I stayed down and was petting them, and I remember thinking I should be really scared right now, but they didn't do anything. So I think they were probably feral dogs that had been like let go or left behind, because that stuff happens, unfortunately. But they were all lovely and friendly, shockingly.
They just wanted companionship.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so there you go.
I'm so glad to have the chance to chat with you today, and I'm glad that I see Vicky, Shannon, and Stephanie there. I don't know if there's somebody else because I don't know.
It says there's 5 people on.
Thanks, ladies. Oh, good, Stephanie. I'm glad that we resonated with you for something. Yeah. I hope I'm not missing anybody because it seems like that's what I'm seeing, but I did this a couple weeks ago, and it popped up all this stuff after I got off. So we'll make sure that we see those things before we hang up. But
you guys have been awesome. Remember, the holidays are about connection and just feeling the love, and try not to take life personally, people personally. Just do you. Do you, what's best for you, and you'll survive it. And thrive in it.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. So this girl needs to finish her shopping. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I didn't do that.
I don't understand that.
So actually, it's funny because I am offering a 10 days of giving. I want to mention that before we get off. So I have, my idea was to connect people in the area with local businesses here in Niagara and to support their business, to let them know that they're there, and also to kind of, like get some shopping done, right? Because it was like, if you're like me, you don't have all your stocking stuffers or gifts for everybody yet. So I figured, okay, for 10 days, I'll give away a gift. So either I purchased one or somebody like Liz has donated something. So every day I'll post one, and then I'll announce the lucky recipients of it, and I'll do it every year. So it's some of my favorite things, really, is what I was thinking, was like, oh, what would I enjoy and what would I think that somebody would enjoy? And hopefully you guys do enjoy the gifts that you end up receiving, and good luck, and tune into my Facebook page every day to check and see what we're giving away that day.
Yeah, you do. You need to do that.
Yeah. And Liz has a new website, lizthrop.com.
Yes. I used to be lizthroppsychic.com, and I think that should still link to the new site, but it's now lizthrop.com straight up.
Yeah, and so check out her gifted ones.
Yeah. And the Psychic Kids United, for anybody who knows of a child that is intuitive or dealing with things that go bump in the night, or parents that don't know how to deal with it, check out that website, and there's a Facebook page for that as well.
Great. And I am on tonight at 8:30 on Sapphire Souls, and I'm going to actually have the amazing Tracy Kennedy on this evening.
Love Tracy.
Yeah. So she's going to talk. We're going to have a little chat, and you can get that on A1R Radio or
we'll post
iTunes,
the link in here.
Roku, Google Music.
It's on Roku as well.
Oh, it's on like a whole slew of different things. It's crazy. Yeah. Roku, it's one of their most syndicated shows on Roku. So it's a popular one. So
I did not
check
know
it out. I'm on every
Thursday
at 8:30.
We'll add the link in here for anybody who wants to watch it tonight.
Yeah, check Tracy out.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back next week.
We'll see you guys.
Okay. Bye.